And welcome to LSU Tigers Live on the Voice of College Football Network. I'm one of your co-hosts, Grant Sashray. The other person on the screen, will be to the right, is Zach Jenna, of course. He is you probably seen him a lot, of course, on Twitter as and the Valley Shook. But he's got both those Twitter handles are right below. And also, they're right here on the bottom of the screen right here as well. And of course, you can follow me at Sashray Grant. And, of course, some of my written content about LSU is also on CrescentCitySports.com. And, Zach, we had a very busy weekend, of course, with the draft. You also had LSU baseball beating Tennessee. I think that's how we're going to start the show. We have to talk about that because that was humongous. Also, LSU made some moves. Of course, we got one of the top defensive line prospects, or if not the top defensive line prospect, depending on who you ask. And also, we signed a cornerback. Cole Raymond is still putting in work in the recruiting trail, and you can see why Brian Kelly brought him back to BR during the last off season, which was January 2024. But Zach, let's dive straight into LSU baseball. Of course, LSU it seems like it's a theme where they just have a weather delay and they just gotta have to make us stay up all night. That was game one, and it's still a fairly packed stadium. The game was supposed to the first pitch was supposed to be at 7:00, 7:30. And it didn't start till 9:55 p.m. So the LSU faithful were still in play. We're still in the stadium. But the game did not start off so hot, right? LSU was down 3-0. And then they scored 6 unanswered in the ninth inning. The reason why it was 6-3 is because Jared Jones, when the game was tied 3-3, Jared Jones hit a 3-run walk-off home run to win the game. They got set off, and LSU, whenever LSU and Tennessee get to play against each other, you're always going to expect you're always going to have a wild ride. It's always going to come down to the last inning. Game 2, Tennessee took that 9-3. Just LSU fought hard, but then Tennessee just got rolling behind the bats. And LSU, which has kind of been a theme all year, just really had not gotten it going from behind the plate. And Tennessee just hit the ball better. But then when you get to game 3, Tennessee got to an early lead, but then LSU just smoked them. Derek Coryell is easily, in my opinion, the SEC Freshman of the Year. He is leading LSU in batting average, 373. Just keep this in mind. Dylan Cruz had a 364 batting average his freshman year. So Derek Coryell is already doing better than Dylan. And, of course, we still got a long way to go. Now, Derek Coryell may not have the power that Dylan Cruz had, but if you look at some of the tools that Derek does have compared to Dylan, very, very similar. And LSU's really grateful to have him, but also Chris Stanfield has been hitting the ball pretty well. He actually leads LSU in batting average through SEC play. But we'll break down more and more as the games goes on. But Zach, I want to hear, what did you think about this weekend? And last week we talked a lot about LSU and whether or not we know they're going to host. We know they're going to host, but we want to know if it's super original to play. And the goal was to at least get around the 18 to 20 win area. With the series win over Tennessee, it seems more and more likely every day.
Yeah, you're at 14 league wins now with 3 weekends to play. So 9 more opportunities. So if you got to get anywhere from 4 to 6 wins, that seems pretty doable. Game 1 was, we don't put up banners or anything around these parts for just regular season wins, but that game 1 Friday night, Saturday morning, that's going to be one to remember for honestly maybe like the rest of your life. That's they're calling it the Rally Toss'em game. Just complete highway robbery. There's no reason LSU should have won that game. And honestly, LSU probably should have been going into Sunday just saying to themselves, let's not get swept. But Tennessee gave you that game Friday, and you know what? That's okay. That's baseball. These things kind of even out sometimes. And to your point about Curiel, how about that? To have your 44 game on base streak snapped on Saturday, and what did he do? He came out going 4-for-4 with a walk, a double, a homer, or two doubles, two doubles, a homer, leadoff home run in the first inning, flirted with the cycle, just missed it by a triple, but to go for 4-for-4 at the plate, reach base all 5 times, that's a pretty good way to come back with a vengeance. Is this a sign of things to come offensively? Who knows? I mean, it was call a spade a spade. This was Tennessee's bullpen. LSU feasted on, but you know, you still gotta make these. You still have to hit these pitches. And LSU the past couple weekends haven't really been hitting all that great. And for my money on Sunday, I don't know if Kason Evans is going to be the Sunday starter from now on, the Game 3 starter from now on, but I would wager that his start Sunday, 6 innings, 2 runs, I believe it was like 5 hits, 6 hits, no walks. Most importantly, no walks. For my money, Grant, that's the best pitching performance by an LSU pitcher this year, outside of Cade Anderson's complete game against Oklahoma, obviously. That's a game that LSU had to have, and you turn to a freshman not only making his first ever SEC start, that's his first ever career start. And he got shelled pretty early in that first inning. Tennessee tagging for 2 runs. And a couple of the other fly ball outs to the corner outfields, left and right field, those are hard hit balls. And credit Jay Johnson, he came out and he said something to him on the mound. And Evans just became a new pitcher after that mound visit, and threw up 5 straight zeros and let LSU get back into this game with their bats. If this is what the plan is now moving forward, Evans starts Game 3, this could alter the trajectory of LSU's season for the better, because maybe now you've got that elusive third starter. And I don't know if that's how they're going to use him, but if that's LSU's path, LSU's a really dangerous, even more dangerous team moving forward.
Yeah, and to kind of give you guys a refresher, so Tennessee got off to the lead in it was actually, the thing is that Cade Anderson had a hell of a game, and a lot of people forget that really he was one of the reasons why LSU was even in the game from the get-go. I mean, he had 11 strikeouts. I mean, it's just another money-making type of game for Cade Anderson. I mean, through 7.1 innings pitched, he allowed 6 hits, 2 runs, both earned on 6 hits through 7 innings, and also had 11 strikeouts. It's just another big time game from him. And a lot of times, since Paul Skeens, really, you've had a lot of high expectations for LSU pitchers, and now some of it's unfair because what Paul Skeens did that year in 2023 was just unhuman. It was just not human at all. Like, he broke, what's his name?
Ben McDonald.
Ben McDonald. Yeah, I don't know why. How did I forget his name? I know. I was thinking in my mind, but I couldn't come out with it in my mouth. But yeah, he broke Ben McDonald's 30-plus year record, and a lot of people thought that could never be done again. And just because that was in 1986, right? Or 1985. I mean, it was 1986, and stuff like that doesn't get broken for a little while. I mean, look at all the college baseball records. I mean, those are hard records to break, just because it's baseball. Baseball records in general take a while to get broken. It's just in general. But if you look, 11 strikeouts. I mean, he's almost putting up Paul Skeens type of numbers. Just ever since we started SEC play, it's just like a whole new level of Cade Anderson that we have not seen before. But if you go back to the recap, Tennessee took the lead in the top of the 6th inning. It took a little while for them to finally kind of break through. That was by Andrew Fisher. He was able to get an RBI single up the middle, and so Tennessee was up 1-0. Tennessee scored again in the top of the 8th when Hunter Ensley hit again, an RBI single this time to right field. And then in the top of the ninth, when it really seemed like it was kind of the dagger, and not really the dagger, but when you got 3-0 in the bottom of the ninth, it just seems unlikely for the home team to kind of get through. That was hit by Gavin Killen, and that was the second hit of the game, and that was again an RBI, RBI double to left center. But then some magic started to happen, right? Dalton Beck. He has a big time hit. And really, I think if I remember correctly, Dalton Beck was actually was he a pinch hitter?
Yeah, he was a pinch hitter, and he only had like 5 at-bats on the season, 6 at-bats on the season, only 1 SEC at-bat. And, the reason this whole thing even is happening is because of 2 errors by, I'm blanking on his name, but the Tennessee third baseman has 2 fielding errors. If any one of those are converted, the game's over, and it's 3-0. Tennessee takes game 1. But the box is magic sometimes, and that voodoo that it got him, and LSU's a beneficiary. And yeah, shout out Beck he smoked the ball right up the middle to make it a 3-2 game with the bases loaded. Jay knows this roster pretty well, and he wanted a left-handed bat against a right-handed pitcher, and it paid off.
Yeah, man, and just the fact that this when he came into play, I'm like, Dalton Beck, has he even played? He's one of the biggest at bats of his life. I mean, Mike, I'm saying, like, it's just one of those things where it's just anything can happen at any moment. And I'm actually looking at the roster right now to see, if I think he might be a freshman. Don Beck, where you at, Don? Where you at on the roster, Don Beck? Yeah, so he's a senior. He transferred in from Incarnate Word. Right? He's listed as outfielder, first baseman, and a left-handed pitcher. So I guess he does it all for LSU. But the fact that it's fit that bat, it might have been the most impactful at bat of LSU season. It's pretty wild. But then later that same inning, Derek Curiel has an RBI single to the right side of the field, and that tied the game. And that's when LSU – and this, by the way, that was with – if I remember, that was a 2-out. So that was a 2-out RBI single. I mean, just another big-time hit.
Not just 2 outs, Grant, but on a 1-2 count as well. He was down to 2 strikes. Like that, Tennessee was a pitch away from ending that thing.
Yeah. Well, 1-2 count, just incredible. Another big-time hit from the freshman. It almost seems like he's not a freshman. It just seems like he's been playing college baseball for 3 years now. And, of course, we had the Jared Jones homer to center field. And actually, I saw on Twitter a great view of the home run. I'm not sure if you saw it, Zach, but it was by Chris Phillips. Chris Phillips, of course, he had SEC Unfiltered. I think if you're kind of on SEC Twitter, you know who Chris Phillips is. And he had it. And if you guys haven't, I'm going to share with you guys. If you haven't seen it, it's absolutely incredible. Let me pull this up for you guys here. It's just an incredible shot. You can tell like the crowd's really getting to it. And by the way, this is like at 1:55 at night, y'all. Yeah. This is at 1:55 at night.
Yeah.
I mean, look, this is what posted. Well, it's about like 1:21. But look what it's posted. This was posted like shortly after he hit that home run. I mean,
he just murdered that ball. That's dead center over the batter's eye.
He murdered it. I mean,
that's as loud and as hard and as far as you could possibly hit a ball in that stadium. That's
he pimped that shit.
He's right.
He really did pimp it. I mean, when I saw that on TV, I'm like, oh my God, he absolutely pimped that ball. I mean, like Jared Jones, he's the bear for a reason. I know a lot of people kind of, trash on Jared Jones and sometimes, but I mean, like Jared Jones has been the most consistent power hitter for LSU the last 3 seasons. There's a reason why. He came back because he wanted to prove his MLB stats, but or MLB, draft stock. That's what the name is looking for. But he's had a solid year for LSU. I mean, if you look at the stats, I mean, yes, I know he's more seen as more of a power hitter, but I mean, if you look at it, I mean, he's batting 358, right? That's a massive improvement because of the fact that we all know Jared Jones has been known as a strikeout merchant at times. But I mean, yeah, he leads the team in strikeouts at 46, but he's massively improved his batting average, 358, and he has a 458 on base percentage. And if you go to the SEC play, I mean, yes, he's struggled a little bit more because it's SEC play, but he's batted 256. But he also has 18 RBIs. I mean, he has 3 home runs. And look, I get he may be struggling in SEC play, but he's been one of the more important hitters on LSU. And there's a reason why. Look, that home run right there, like any point, he's gonna pimp it, right? If you give him the right pitch, he's gonna pimp it. That's the type of power hitter he is. And once again, like Jared Jones, it's in my opinion, of course, the heroes of the game: Jared Jones, Derek Curiel, Cade Anderson, and of course Dallenbeck. Which I'm not sure when his next at bat's going to be, but if that is his last at bat, it's probably the most impactful hit, not only of course his career, but of LSU season. That was a season of a momentum changing type of hit, because not only did he effectively win the game for LSU eventually, but also you're probably going to host a super regional because of that, and that only impacts your chances of going to Omaha. But go on to game 2. But game 2, of course, that it didn't go LSU's way. They lost. I'll pull up here
9-3.
9-3. Yeah, 9-3. And if you look at Andrew Eisen also had a great game as well. It isn't look at like that on the score sheet because the LSU lost 9-3. But I mean, he also had 8 strikeouts as well. I mean, he was dealing up until kind of late in the game, and that's when things kind of got out of control. But he also had another outstanding performance, just got overshadowed by the fact that Tennessee really started to hit the ball late, which is kind of the theme, right? I mean, Tennessee really doesn't score much at the beginning, and then they really did get going until the 7th inning because they scored 6 runs in the 8th, Zach, and that had nothing to do with Anthony Niansen. 5.2 innings pitched, allowed 6 hits, but he also had 8 strikeouts. So another decent performance by him. And he's been consistent all year. But you got to the bullpen, and it just didn't fare well for them, right? I mean, Chase Short allowed 4, although none of them were. Only one was earned. He allowed 4 runs. Maverick Grizzly allowed a run, and Cooper Williams allowed 2 runs, and most of those were in the 6th inning. Like I said, Tennessee scored 6 runs in the 8th inning, which was, of course, the biggest difference in that game. But if you go to game 3, LSU just showed who was boss. I've never seen – that was probably the most dominant performance I've seen from LSU in a long time. Well, not in a long time, but I would say since 2023, where LSU run-ruled Arkansas. And I think it was game 2 or game 3 of that series. But yeah. LSU beat Tennessee 12-2. Derek Curiel, of course, 4 hits. Well, with 4 for 4 with 5 RBIs and a home run. I mean, he was outstanding. Jared Jones had a solid performance, 2 for 4 from the plate. With no RBI. He had 2 for 4. He did have an RBI, but once again, 2 for 4. And he also scored a run. I mean, Jake Brown 3 for 5 from the plate. Oh no, 1 for 5 from the plate, but 3 of on that one hit was a 3-run.
It made it count.
What's up?
He made it count.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, if you get 5 at bats and 1 was a home run, I mean, shoot, that's a decent performance. Although you would like to get more than 1 hit in your 5 at bats, but Luis Hernandez 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. It's just another great. I mean, it's probably one of LSU's better hitting performances because it was consistent throughout. Right, it wasn't like they were slow and then they got hot at a certain point in the game. No, it was consistent throughout the game, which is something you want to see from LSU as they beat 12-2. Of course, Zach already mentioned Kason Evans' first start as a freshman, Yes, he got rocked a little bit early, but hey, of course, Tennessee scored 2 runs in the first inning, but that was the only 2 runs he would score the rest of the game. Rest of the way, he had 6 strike. He finished with 6 strikeouts, and then of course Zach Collin came in and sealed the deal. And although he only pitched 2 innings, he also had 2 strikeouts. But that's because LSU run ruled Tennessee. So, so I really like that duo, like being the day 3 duo. Like you start off with Case and Evans, and then you go with Zach Cohen, or you can do it vice versa because both those guys were starting pitchers. I mean, really, Zach Cohen is a starting pitcher, right? He was an ace for Wofford last year.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I would love that game 3 as a tandem as well moving forward. I'm not sure how much they can keep playing that card though. I mean, Calvin only threw like a dozen pitches Friday night, so he was pretty fresh to go. And Evans didn't throw at all up until, or obviously didn't throw at all up until Sunday. So I'm wondering if that'll be kind of how Jay plays it moving forward. You know, the least used guy starts at Sunday, and then the guy who has the least wear and tear finishes. You know, maybe Evans starts and then Cowan finishes, and then next weekend Cowan starts and Evans finishes. Maybe the roles reverse. Yeah, Cowan was more than willing, or more than able, more than qualified to be a starter, obviously. And Evans, I mean, this might be your Friday night starter for the next 2 seasons. So it might be a good idea to keep on ramping him, especially letting him have that SEC experience, because we're seeing, I mean, I'm not trying to pick on the kid, but look at William Schmidt, the difference between non-conference ball and midweek ball. I mean, they're playing Southeastern right now. I'm expecting Schmidt to get some run tonight, but non-conference, out-of-conference opponents versus SEC, it's a whole different animal. And Schmidt, he'll probably get there one day. It's not happening yet, and that's okay. He's growing. But Evans, he's ready right now. So I think you gotta ride that for as long as you can.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of times get day 3, you just kind of throw whoever on the field. This is like the first time where LSU kind of has an idea what they're doing day 3. And since Jay's first year, because remember Jay's first year, day 3 usually pitched Grant Taylor or Sammy Dutton, vice versa. And it was a fantastic duo. I mean, that was really Sammy Dunn's only good year. I would say good year at LSU, because the other years were kind of so. But I'm glad he's picked it up at Auburn. He's doing well at Auburn, so good for him. But him and Grant Taylor were just awesome. At day 3, especially a lot of times that was the rubber match for LSU, and they did a great job of being that 1-2 punch. And Zach Cohen and Casey Evans are that for LSU, because really Zach Cohen, if he was at any other school, he would be the starting pitcher. He would be a starting pitcher, but just because of the amount of depth on LSU's pitching staff, which is the first time in a while that Jay's really the first time ever that Jay's had that at LSU, and barring 2023, but that was because of injuries in 2023, that they have a deep pitching staff. And so if they can keep this going, man, I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, if you look at their schedule, I mean, after this, you got A&M. Yes, I know Blue Ball Park's a very tough place to play. And A&M will be challenging, but LSU is favored in that game, right? A&M has had an up and down season. Arkansas could be tough, and so would be South Carolina. But at least Arkansas, you have them at home, right? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the good thing as well. And also, that's my birthday weekend. Awesome.
It's Mother's Day weekend, yeah.
Yeah, so that's Mother's Day weekend. And of course, you finish out the season with a road trip to South Carolina, and when Paul Maneri, of course, the former LSU head coach, is now the head coach of South Carolina after he came out of retirement. Tonight, LSU will take on Southeastern. That game will be on ESPN Plus. So yeah, if you have ESPN Plus, you'll probably be able to find that. And then this weekend you have A&M. And we're going to do something later in the week about A&M and maybe do a little preview, something like that for you guys. But then, of course, the last non-conference game is against Grambling State. And then before you have the 2 conference series between Arkansas and South Carolina with no non-conference in between them. And then, of course, that's the tournament in Hoover is May 20th through the 25th. So a great opportunity. These next 3 series will determine whether or not LSU has a super regional. I think if you win 2 out of the next 3, you're definitely going to host a super regional, and that I think they can, right? I mean, all these next 3 series are very winnable for LSU. Obviously, Arkansas is going to be the most challenging one because it's Arkansas, and they're one of the more traditional powers in the SEC. But this is a great opportunity for LSU moving forward if they want to host a super regional. But before we go on to our next segment, which is going to be more about the draft and some things that happen in the transfer and recruiting circle, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to play this video. Of course, the boss man Mark has a promo for you guys, and I want to share that before we finish the rest of the show.
You can make a difference here at the Voice of College Football. Use the Amazon link. Financially contribute to the Voice of College Football without spending a penny. Same shopping experience. It's easy. Go to any video on any channel. Go to the description section and grab the link right next to the capital letters that say Amazon. Use that link and Amazon will instantaneously convert to your account, settings, history, everything intact, just like whatever link you use right now. No difference. Pay no attention to the product that you see right there. Just go search what you want. Don't forget the Amazon link. Thank you for your support. Sincerely.
And that was the boss man, Mark Rogers, of course, the voice of college football. And of course, he owns everything, all of the properties here. Of course, at LSU, the voice of college football network, as he is the main guy who pays us and controls everything in the voice of college football. But Zach, big weekend for LSU. There's 7 Tigers being taken into the NFL draft. I'm share this with you guys. And no, I got this on Wikipedia, but screw it, who cares? So this is the class for the NFL 2025 NFL draft. 7 players were drafted. Will Campbell in the first round to the New England Patriots. He was drafted with the 4th overall pick. That was not a shocker considering the fact that Will Campbell was visited by the Patriots, a few days before the draft at his home in Monroe. And we know that the Patriots want to make sure that their quarterback, Drake May, has the best team around him as possible. And what a better way to get to draft Will Campbell to be his starting left tackle. Mason Taylor was selected by the New York Jets with the 42nd overall pick in the 2nd round. That came 2 picks after the Saints. I was kind of hoping that the Saints would draft Mason Taylor, but they went with quarterback Tyler Shuck out of Louisville, which is causing controversy because Tyler Shuck is literally my age, and he's had a lot of injury issues. But this is LSU's show, not a Saints show, so I'm going to skip over that. But Emory Jones, who was the starting right tackle for LSU, was one of the better tackle duos in the country, if not the best tackle duo in the country. He was selected by the Baltimore Ravens with the 91st overall pick in the 3rd round. Savion Jones was also drafted in the 3rd round. The defensive end Savion Jones by the Denver Broncos with the 101st overall pick. Braden Swinson, the defensive end opposite of Savion Jones, was selected by the New England Patriots with the 146th pick. It's something about the Patriots drafting LSU players. But Miles Frazier, the 171st overall pick in the 5th round, he got drafted by the Lions. And Garrett Dollinger, the last of the offensive linemen to get drafted, he was selected with the 243rd overall pick in the 7th round, also to the Baltimore Ravens. So Emory Jones and Garrett Dollinger will be teammates once again in Baltimore. But Zach, kind of looking at some of the players and where they got drafted, who do you think landed in the best situation possible?
It's a cop out to probably say Will Campbell, but the Patriots are building something. I don't know if they're not going to win the East this year, but I think the Patriots could flirt with 500. I like Mason Taylor to the Jets. I think he immediately slides in as the starting tight end at the Jets. And I mean, I don't know how much Emory Jones will play for Baltimore, but I mean, you can't ask for, or there's very few organizations you beat. There's many worse organizations to go to. That's what I'm trying to say. Baltimore's been one of like the premier franchises in the NFL since basically their inception, since the Colts moved away. I mean, like I said, I don't know how much he starts because Baltimore seems like they've got pretty much they're ready made to try and make another Super Bowl run this year. But who knows? Maybe Jones could slide in and be a starting right guard. I mean, heck, we heard for years that actually right guard is Emory Jones's natural position. So is that where Baltimore plays him? Do they try him outside first? I mean, you don't spend a third round top 100 pick on like a project, that's someone you're expecting to be starting for you, if not their rookie year, eventually while on that rookie contract. So I think Emory Jones might have a shot to see some reps early.
Yeah, definitely, man. I think Will Campbell landed in a great spot with the Patriots. He'll be a starter right away. And I think he kind of fits. I mean, he looks like a Patriot. He looks and like talks like a Patriot, just kind of like the Patriot way. Like you got work and, just like the no fun type of attitude, but you want to win championships. I just feel like he will fit that organization very well. Mason Taylor is going to the Jets. That would be a very interesting spot as they really don't have a quarterback. But Mason Taylor, he looked good in green and white. I'm not gonna lie, he looked pretty cool in green and white. He looks like somebody that could play for the Jets. Mm-hmm. Of course, his dad also played for the Jets, ironically. So there's a lot of parallels there. His dad, of course, Jason Taylor played most of his career with the Dolphins, but he finished his career. One of his last stops was with the Jets. He played there. His dad played with the Jets for 1 year in 2010. So kind of coincidence that the Mason Taylor went to one of his dad's former teams. But I really like Emory Jones landing at the Baltimore, right? I mean, I know his draft stock kind of slipped after he had a kind of a down year. Although he had a good year, it was a down year for him, just given the expectations of LSU's offensive line. But I really like the fact he went to Baltimore. I'd be very interested to see what he does over there in purple and black. So, also Braden Swinson. I think that's also a steal by the Patriots, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I like the way Braden Swinson. I think he's a guy I could see playing for the Patriots right away. He's an older guy. He's a more mature guy. I mean, every time he's in the game, it seems like he's either causing disruption or he's making the play. Yeah. He's just one of those players. I can see him playing right away, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, good for Savion Jones for going pick 101 to Denver, but I'm surprised that he got picked ahead of Swinson. Yeah, I would have thought that Swinson, honestly, heading into the draft, I would have thought it would have gone Campbell, Taylor, then Swinson. So I'm surprised he went not only after Emory Jones and Savion Jones, so he went fifth. That was surprising for me in a not so pleasant way. But I'm sure it all worked out, and I think that's a really good day 3 pick for New England.
Yeah, those two dudes are definitely rooming together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those two dudes, honestly, I want to see what that's like in the city of Boston, just those two rooming together, bro. Like, we need to come up with like a vlog series of them just rooming together as rookies. That'd be pretty cool. But also, I really like where the Patriots are at. They hired Matt Vrabel. He had a fairly successful stint with the Titans. I know he's kind of a rival there, but that says a lot more about the Titans than Matt Vrabel. And I think the Patriots. I'm not sure how soon they'll become like a Super Bowl contender again, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots found their way in the wild card. They've been drafting pretty well. It seems like they know what they're doing, not only with who they're picking, but also they're picking a lot of LSU players. So, it'd be very interesting to see how the Patriots do next year. I really like who the Patriots have on their team, and then also who's their coach. But this is LSU show, and of course, I'm going to be rooting for all LSU players to succeed at the highest level. Of course, as when you go to LSU, you're connected with the university, and you're also connected with its players. But anyway, moving on, Zach, and this is something that happened over the weekend, and we knew it was going to be a slow spring transfer portal for LSU as they landed most of who they already wanted to land after the season, right? Because the first portal, we knew that LSU was going to spend big. Brian Kelly said that, and that's exactly what they did. But they landed one of the top prospects out of the transfer portal, and that person was actually, I just pulled it up. What
Bernard Gooden from
Bernard
South.
Gooden, yes, yeah, Bernard Gooden. I had him on Google Chrome, not because I'm using a different browser for StreamYard on here. But Bernard Gooden was one of the top prospects out of the transfer portal, and he was also considered to be the number one prospect out of all defensive linemen. Of course, he started for South Florida last year, and he had a solid career there. I'm going to pull up his stats in a second, but Zach, kind of give up your overall thoughts about LSU picking up what could be their only transfer portal target, but it's a really good one.
Yeah, it's something that they needed. I don't think you can ever have enough defensive tackles, especially in this transition year where you're switching from Bo Davis, maybe the best defensive line coach in football, to Kyle Williams, who it's his first year on the job. Not to say that he can't do it, but it's his first year coaching at the collegiate level. And I don't think it's irrational to say that Gooden is going to be your starter or a starter next to Jacoby and Guillory. And there's a chance that LSU this season can rotate 6 defensive tackles. So you have Gooden and Jacoby and Guillory. You've got the sophomores in Ahmed Bro and Don McKinley. You've also still got Shane Washington, the JUCO transfer.
It's Sean. Yeah,
it's Sean. Right. Okay, thank you. And you have Sydir Mitchell transferring from Texas. So that's 6 veteran bodies, and you've still got 3 incoming freshmen. So that's 9 bodies. Now, do I think all 9 play? Probably not. Or at least, when it's like that first weekend in November and you're at Alabama, do I expect true freshman Zion Williams to play and get a whole bunch of run at Alabama? No, probably not. But you have numbers at a spot where the best Alabama teams, the best Georgia teams that we've seen win championships, what's one of their calling cards? Depth along the defensive line, where they just send in waves at tackle and end and keep these guys fresh. And Gooden has been around this is his last year. He started off at Wake Forest, actually, then went to South Florida, and speaking of Alabama, he kind of had a coming out party against Alabama, not this past year, but the year that South Florida played at Tuscaloosa. Or actually, I guess it was this past year, excuse me. But he really flashed and finished the season with about 30 pressures per PFF. So this could be I want to say cherry on top, but maybe like a missing ingredients for this LSU defense. And I'm excited to see how it all meshes. I mean, Joe Burrow was a spring transfer, so sometimes it's the later ones that really change things.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, he started his career at Wake Forest. He saw action in 12 games, posted 7 tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss, and a half a sack. And then he transferred to South Florida, but he had to sit out because it's even though the transfer rules have changed, he had but he still had to sit out. I don't know the reason, but I do know he didn't play in 2023 because of that. But then last season, he was named an honorable mention All-American Athletic Conference by the coaches. So he was a very good player for South Florida. But I'm actually looking at his PFF grades right now. His defense graded was a 81.7, so that's that's pretty good. But if you look at his run defense, 87.2. And he had a 73.2 pass rush rating. Now that pass rush rating, yeah, it's a little. I guess you could say that's okay. It's good, but it's not like overall. Oh my god! But if you look at his run defense grades, 87.2. So I saw especially in SEC where teams like to run the ball. It's I think it's a great addition to LSU's defense. You could probably put more run packages, maybe short yard situations. He's a little undersized, but at 6'1", 270. But he's definitely somebody that I can see being in run defensive packages. And then he's a really good depth piece. I don't know if he's going to start, but he's definitely going to play for LSU. You don't get a guy like this out of the transfer portal for him not to play, right? Yeah. I mean, that's just how it goes. I mean, he was the number one rated defensive tackle in the transfer portal.
Especially to your point about you don't get these guys. Well, these guys also on their last year of eligibility don't enter the portal just to be a rotational piece. So there's had to been some type of understanding of, hey, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to want to play pretty heavily. And I'm pretty sure that he and Kelly and Kyle Williams all kind of talked it out because otherwise he wouldn't be here.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's another great addition for LSU. And their defensive line was already, in my opinion, might be the strongest position group they have in the field, and it's only gotten stronger, especially through the transfer portals. And even though they lose Bo Davis, Kyle Williams has done a great job with his defensive line, and of course Kevin Peoples, who is the edge rushers coach, he's done a great job as well. You've seen how much the edge rushers improved last year under Kevin Peoples. And now you have a guy like Kyle Williams who, even though his only coaching experience has been at the high school level, I mean, look at the guys he developed, including Ahmad Bro, who is currently the starting defensive tackle for LSU right now. But moving off of the transfer portal, let's go straight into some LSU recruiting news. And, of course, this news came out recently. But LSU landed another commitment. Of course, they Zach, hold on. I hate Brave. I hate Brave when it comes to searching. But LSU, I really hate Brave sometimes, man. Oh my god. Zach, can you tell us who LSU signed?
Yeah, let me get the name. But they added a 4-star transfer corner. Give me a second. This is a great podcast, and you guys don't get content like this anywhere else. So shout out to us. This is incredible.
Yeah.
We're fine. It's I'm not sure if you're saying this right, but it's Havon, Havon, Finney Jr., a 4-star, all the way out from California. Looks like he was actually reclassified, so he should have been in this past cycle or this upcoming cycle, but he moved up a year. He's about a top 100-ish player, depending on what outlet you use. Excuse me. He's got some track speed. We love to see that. Here it is. He was the number 1 corner in America before reclassifying. So this is a kid who can play. And he seems to be the type of build that – hello, Sherry Tucker Brown. He seems to be the type of build that Corey Raymond loves. Long, can run, athletic. Looks like he's got some multi-sport backgrounds. These guys were built in the Corey Raymond lab.
Yeah, of course. Being 6'2", 170, that's some serious size. And of course, he's going to grow some more as he continues his career. Because all guys are only going to get bigger, right, Zach? I mean, that's just how it goes. I mean, Ahmad Bro came in as a defensive end, and he gained 40, 50 pounds to become a defensive tackle. These guys could beef up very quickly. I mean, that you see that a lot. But Havon Finney. Of course, it's a 4-star defense. I can only pull up on 3 real quick because just kind of show you how other people view Havon Finney. And I got right here. So he's a consensus 4-star recruit all across the board, except for Rivals. Rivals has him as a 5-star recruit. And like Zach said, he was the number 1 cornerback in the class of 2027 before he reclassified. So it's another big-time commitment for LSU. Getting a guy from all the way out in Los Angeles at Sierra Canyon, which is one of the top athletic programs in the country. Just another big-time get for LSU.
Maybe he knows Bronny.
Yeah, the same school as Bronny. But now that is the 10th commitment for LSU so far in the recruiting cycle. And if most of the commitments have been from Louisiana, of course, me and Zach have mentioned that before on this show, which is the biggest thing you want to get. But also, if you're LSU, you want to land some of the top prospects from across the country. And that's why you hire a guy like Corey Raymond. And, of course, he is so far he's the only cornerback to be committed to LSU. But that will grow over time. Right now, we're still in the very early processes of the recruiting cycle for the class of 2026. You really won't see things start pick up until the summer, but you're starting to see it pick up a little bit more as we start to enter the very end of the school year before you go into the summer. But so far right now, he is the third defensive back to commit to LSU. Of course, Aiden Hall, for the one of the top safeties from the state of Louisiana and the country. He's been committed to LSU since the August of last year. Dylan Purter, of course, from Booker T. Washington High School in Tuskegee, Alabama. He committed to LSU on the 21st of March, which is actually a little bit before we started the show, but he committed to LSU a little while back. So that's the third defensive back to commit to LSU, and expect to see that grow more as the summer goes on, as Corey Raymond will really start to hit the go on his recruiting trips. And of course, you got 7-on-7 tournaments coming in for LSU. LSU hosts a 7-on-7 tournament every year. They also host a lot of camps. So expect to see more guys commit as time goes on. But it's another big time commitment for LSU. Like I said, yes, you want to lock down the state. You want to create a wall around the state of Louisiana. But more importantly, you have to recruit nationally too. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to focus on it too much, but you have to land some of the top prospects from across the country. You have to land those blue chip guys. Right? I know it's a different age in college football. You can't really have that stranglehold on some of the top prospects in the country like you used to. That's one of the reasons why Alabama was able to win so much. They were like hoarding 4- and 5-star guys. But if you want to have a chance to win national, you want to win conference championships, you want to win national championships, you want to put things in your trophy case, you have to get those blue chips. Look at Georgia. Look at Alabama. Well, Alabama. I know Alabama's kind of falling off, but look at Alabama throughout the years. Look at what those old LSU teams used to do. Look at Ohio State, and really Notre Dame's starting to get those blue chip guys too. You have to land those blue chip guys in recruiting, in high school recruiting, and out the transfer portal if you want to win championships. You saw that with Ohio State last year. Starting to see what Dan Laney's doing in Oregon, Georgia. Texas. Look at Texas. Texas is another great example of what you can do through high school recruiting and the transfer portal. You have to get those blue chip guys in your locker room, in your program, because if you don't, you're just going to stay stagnant. And I think that's something Brian Kelly has really picked up on as he's gotten later into his tenure at LSU. Of course, first start off great, right? You overachieved. You had a 10-win season. You were able to advance to the SEC championship. Then the next year, you hit the transfer portal pretty hard, but it didn't work out. You didn't have to get the guys that fit your system. And then last year, you didn't bring in anybody really out of the transfer portal, and that really hurt LSU. I mean, yeah, the defensive line improved to due to great coaching. You were able to develop those younger guys, but what you're missing was guys out of the transfer portal. And I think Brian Kelly, I feel like, has finally figured it out. But then again, we're talking about off-the-field stuff. You want to see the on-field stuff, but the off-the-field stuff has been looking great so far for LSU.
Yeah, they're actually getting difference makers like a Bernard Gooden potentially is a difference maker. And yeah, on the field, I mean, the Alabama game this past year really sticks out, especially the way Alabama just kind of pushed around LSU up front. You're like, man, they're just not good enough. And it seems like they are finally taking the steps to rectify that. Ahmed Bro and Don McKinley are going to make a leap. Obviously, that first year, second year, that's when the big leap happens. But to sprinkle in like a guy like Bernard Gooden and everywhere else with like, Patrick Payton and Jack Pyburn across all levels of this defense, they're not just getting contributors, they're getting actual difference makers, or what we assume will be difference makers. And I think you'll see a difference come fall.
Yeah, I mean, but good way to put it, Zach. I mean, you have, like I said, you have to get these guys in here. Like Alabama was, you didn't have any playmakers on defense. You need to have, yes, you can have good players that win a lot of games, but you need to have playmakers. You have to have guys who are just absolute dogs, who aren't afraid to knock your head off your body, right? Like you have to have dogs. And really,
Ohio State got Caleb Downs. That's
yes.
Come on.
Yes, right. LSU, I can't remember the last time LSU even had. LSU hasn't had a dominant safety since Grant Delpit.
Yeah.
And his last year did so well. Well, his last year, people forget he played through injuries and still won the Jim Thorpe Award, right, for the best defensive back in the country. And then, but even before him, you had Jamal Adams, you had LaRon Landry. I mean, LSU always had that guy deep in the defensive backfield where you just know, okay, if I catch the ball, I do not want to be in this area. And LSU has not had that type of guy in a little while. It's been about 5-6 years now where LSU has not had a playmaking safety. And hopefully, like a guy like DeMarcus Cooley can come in. Maybe you hope Deshaun Spears can start elevating his game. Of course, I like the safeties did improve over the spring, but I want to see that translate in an actual game. And that actual game will come Labor Day weekend when LSU travels to Clemson at the other Death Valley.
Yeah, and like I was saying, to single out Ohio State with Caleb Downs, they probably didn't need to get Caleb Downs. They're probably pretty good at safety, but they got someone who actually makes difference and changes games. And LSU, to their credit, they're not just doing, the bargain bin shopping. They're not going to Aldi's for their groceries. Looks like they actually went to Sprouts and they went to Whole Foods to get their groceries. So shout out to LSU for finally catching up.
Yeah, and of course, you'd like to see them maybe make some more moves to safety. I know they heavily invested in defensive line and their offensive line, which they should. I mean, that's how you win games in the SEC. But you also like to see them that's more safety. But the way they've been recruiting and also have been developing their players, I like where they're going. I just wish maybe they could have added more safeties to the mix. But anyway, that's gonna wrap up today's show. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, LSU at the Voice of College Football Network, if you're watching on YouTube. But if you're not, please do so, as it helps the channel grow. But also, if you missed the show, you can go back and replay the show. We'll also clip the show as well. But also, we also have audio now. The show will now be on Spotify or wherever you may listen to your podcast. If you want to listen on the go, whether you're jogging or you're working out or you have a long car ride, make sure to check out the podcast version of the show. And it's very convenient. I'm glad they're starting to do that, as sometimes it's hard to watch a show and then also try to run or try to wash clothes or dishes. You can just listen to it and just put your phone in your pocket and voila. Because YouTube, unless you have YouTube Red or whatever they call it, if you turn off your phone, you won't be able to hear it. So it's a very convenient way to listen to the show. But anyway, that's gonna wrap up today's show. Grant Sashray, Zach Junda. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. Right below it says follow us if you have Twitter. But also if you don't have Twitter, all of our videos are up on YouTube. So make sure to check that out, and we'll see you guys later.